But I know the DJ.
Do you?
Welcome to episode 7 of But I Know the DJ, a podcast discussing all things DJing, music, nightlife, business, and pop culture through the unfiltered opinions of host Snax, a.k.a. Snax Nicholson, powered by Dope Entertainment and our sponsor, Anchor. First off, I'd like to shout out our Black-owned business of the week, Savoy Restaurant and Lounge, located at 180 Lincoln Street, Boston, Mass. A contemporary space with Caribbean and Southern cuisine and craft cocktails, plus live music on the weekends, except not anymore because of COVID. Fuck you, COVID. Please visit them and try their awesome food and show them love at Savor Boston. That's basically Savor with 2 V's, SAVVORBOSTON. And now I'd like to introduce our special guest. He is 1/3 of 617 Productions, head of VIP, 20 years in the nightlife game. Please welcome Jeff London. Jeff, how are you, brother?
Oh, appreciate it. Appreciate having me.
Dude, it's so good to see you. It's been too long, obviously. But how are you doing? How are you managing? How's everything going?
Maintaining now. It's been almost 9 months now. So it's so crazy because you get to see people almost every day, every week, and for so many years. And then all of a sudden you don't see anybody for so long.
Yeah, damn. And it's crazy when you say it like that because, you know, obviously us being in the industry, 2 very social guys, and a lot of people be like, oh, yeah, like you can't go out or you can't go to this restaurant or that. But honestly, the mental stuff is really difficult sometimes, too, for social butterflies like ourselves, outgoing, extroverted people.
100%, yeah. I think that, you know, to see people weekly, to know that they're coming there, to, you know, to see the bartenders, the waitresses, you know, even the staff, not just the customers, but managers, things like that. And then you're taking away almost a whole year from seeing them. Yeah. Just not even talking about not working or anything like that, but just not seeing people. Yeah, it does. It must up your mental.
At any part where you're like, damn, I kind of needed this break low key, like.
Oh, the first couple months? Oh, it was awesome. Sleep was unbelievable. It actually changed, I'd say like 3 months in. I mean, I would go to bed super late. It was just my schedule for many years.
And things with 617, you guys had Tuesday to Sunday.
Yeah, we were always always working. So, you know, normal for me to go to bed at 3, 4 in the morning and, you know, wake up 10 or 11. And I started getting up at 7:38. Started passing out at 12. It was different. But then and then I started acclimated to it, like, wow, I see the sun more, and it's pretty nice, you know.
You used to be a night owl. But exactly.
So,
damn, it's insane because, so, like we said in the intro, 20 years in the nightlife game, and that's always in Boston? Always been in Boston?
Always been in Boston, yeah. I started, I mean, as a DJ, so this started in my college career, which was at Wheaton.
Oh, shit.
Yeah.
Nice. I was pretty close to going to Wheaton.
Oh, really?
I got into Wheaton.
Oh, congrats.
Yeah. Wheaton's nice.
Oh, Wheaton's awesome. Yeah. So I started there, and I started and I kind of evolved from there to move back to Boston. That's where I'm originally from West Roxbury.
That's fucking right. Yeah, yes. We talk about this literally every time we see each other. It's been so long. Yes, let's go.
02132.
Yes, let's go. I love it.
So then I started DJing downtown more, and I met Ace. He had, I forget the exact way we met. It wasn't through text message because there probably wasn't text message back then. Probably an email or maybe a handwritten letter. No, I don't know. So I started working I did a New Year's Eve. I think it was 03 to.
As a DJ
to the 04. After that, I started DJing for him or 617, which was at the time Frankie, Sal, and Ace.
Yeah.
And started doing a night in Faneuil Hall, and was actually with a couple more of the guys, Joey Mondra and people that's still in the game. And then I kind of evolved into, I think we had a special guest one night. I don't remember what it was, and he said, you know, why don't you start promoting instead, you know, DJing? Maybe he was telling me to.
I was gonna say that sounds like a. I mean, you can test it. You've heard millions of DJs since. Do you think you were good or?
I think I got the job done. I wasn't top notch. No.
Was it like a passion at all, or were you just like, this is cool, I like going out?
I loved it because I loved it. This is before Serato.
Right.
So record collecting and going out every week and going to the record stores every week was like, that was the passion. That was, you know, and you had the cool record and you can't wait to play it that night.
Yeah.
Breaking record that just came out, you know.
Dope.
That was the passion, I think. And then I started, getting more into promotion, and then I went full time with 617 and became, part of it.
Was that like an overnight thing, or were you like, I kind of like this DJ stuff, I don't know if they're promoting things right, or?
When I started promoting, I loved it. Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
I loved it right away. And I got to mingle more with the people. DJing, it was just, it was like straight work and lugging record crates and stuff like that was a pain.
That's true.
So
that's very true.
I think, I got, right off the bat, the bug to throw parties and Ace teaching me. I think Frankie and Sal just got me excited to do more stuff.
Yeah. Shout out Ace. Shout out Frankie as well. I don't know Sal at all. But shout out those guys. Crazy long careers, legends in the game, and me being newer and younger, like both of them have always been super nice to me. So shout out them. So at the time, what was the scene like, and what was like maybe the key to throw a successful party at that time?
So I think, in terms of throwing parties, I think anybody can throw a party one time and just make it crush it. But I think the longevity and the consistency is what the hardest thing is, and that's what the most important thing is. A party is, New Year's, everybody goes out and it's a party and it's great. Halloween parties, things like that. But the consistency, the off nights, the Tuesday, the Sunday parties that, became consistent for, 7 to 10 years or however long that runs for, longer than some people's Saturday nights,
Right. Yeah.
So that, I think is part of the the consistency of the parties or how to throw parties, I think they've changed a bunch throughout those 15, 20 years.
Yeah, sure.
I think at the beginning it's with music, it's with styles, and I think now it's with bottle service. So I think when I first started, there was no bottle service.
Yeah, that's
there
what Jason was saying.
No VIPs, it was just straight up. You go to the bar. Some of the guys bought a bottle of champagne at the bar, but there was no bottles. And then, as it transformed, it became more of a VIP. At certain spots, it became more of a VIP atmosphere where people would sit at tables and things like that. And then bottle service came around.
So where there's no tables, period. Like it was all just one big room, that open space. Anyone can just hang out and dance wherever, right?
Yeah, there were more benches and things like that for people to sit, but it wasn't necessarily like roped off VIP or anything like that. Yeah.
So if an athlete wanted to come party, were they just among the people?
They were hanging with the people. Yeah.
Damn.
Yeah.
Damn, that's kind of crazy.
It is. Yeah. Yeah. You don't know.
I mean, were they with security? Like I guess the times were just different.
They were different. I mean, if you think about where Bijou was and things like that, they had pool tables. Where some of the VIP tables were. So. It was like different. It was a different.
Well, I guess that explains Paul Pierce getting stabbed.
Yes.
At a club in Boston. So.
Yeah, that was great. Yeah, it was where, actually, it's a story of Paul going back to Bijou. I think it was only a couple of years ago. It was the first time he went back.
Since then.
Since that incident.
Oh wow.
And
that's insane. It's crazy because. Once I started like getting more involved in the industry and like I always knew the story being, from Boston and a Celtics fan. And then I was like, random night, I was just like, yo, I wonder where it was. And it said the address because it was called something different at the time. And it said the address. And I was like, yo, this is Bijou.
Yeah,
I was like,
it's called Europa Buzz. Yeah.
Damn, that's crazy. Fuck. And so you start throwing parties with Ace and everything. At that time, were you guys like, the head hunches even then, or was it?
Yeah, the Tuesday night was the biggest night. So we had Tuesday, which was Evolution Tuesdays. It evolved from, I believe, Bill's Bar, then Embassy, and it evolved through Whiskey Park, and then over to Rumor. I think Rumor was the longest tenure. Yeah, and those Tuesday nights were the start of, I would say, where the bottle service kind of started. We'd have like 17, 18 tables a night
God,
on a Tuesday.
What, like, cause with Tunnel Tuesday and everything, like, you know, I've done Tuesdays and the industry nights, off nights, and I don't know if it's a sign of the times, but it's never been to that magnitude. What about that time, or that people were just going out like crazy?
I think that time that people, the time was good. I mean, that was, you know, stocks were good. I think people had some money, and I think people chose nights. I don't think there was as many clubs back then, and so I think that people really decided what they were going to do. Like Tuesday night, there can be 3 or 4 clubs open now. Back then, it was like one club.
One club.
Yeah. And it was hard to get into. I think the talent was good. We always had, you know, we had celebrities come through, and those are the off nights that they feel more comfortable as the whole industry. And we used to have industry cards that we'd hand out on Boylston Street, so every bartender and waitress would be down from every club. It was,
damn.
Tuesdays were
That sounds so fire, man. And it seems like it just seemed more genuine. People were like really trying to, and obviously no social media wasn't too popping back then. So like, it was just more like people were really trying to meet up. People were really trying to dance. People were really trying to listen to the music. It wasn't, because here it's so regulated by, you know, oh, well, I saw last week it wasn't that good.
Right.
You know what I mean? Yeah. So like, and it's all these questions because of how things are perceived.
Yeah, I mean, I think social media does that. It's all perception too.
Yeah.
I mean, you could make a dead room look busy through social media, and then vice versa. You know, somebody says, "Oh, how is it there?" and they send you a picture of it, of a dead room, even though it might be like 10:30, and you're just
and you will,
up.
I don't want to go now. Yeah,
you don't want to go. Yeah, so I think that the allure of like hearing about it and not physically seeing it until you're in there is more special.
Damn.
So I think that was part of the other thing was the way Tuesdays were set up to the main room was a mix of hip hop and you know, some old school and whatever was kind of current. But the other flip side was that the back room was international night. So it was house music where we had all the international kids, the BU, the Northeastern, the BC, all the international kids. So the back room had its own flavor, and it actually had a separate entrance. And then the main room had, you know, the hip hop and dance and top 40, which was also at that time a lot of that music wasn't played in Boston. Like there were some direct hip hop nights, but for hip hop to be played in the clubs on like a Saturday night, it was only a certain amount of clubs.
Right. Yeah, hip hop in terms of being pop music is super current, and I think a lot of, you know, I think especially people my age don't understand that. You know what I mean? And it's so I appreciate you kind of bringing that up, because especially in a place like Boston where we're a city, right? But the way we kind of stand as a market is very awkward. It's very like media market. We're not a New York, but we're bigger than a Worcester, I guess, for example. Right. But you know, we have the no happy hour. We have the train doesn't run that late. So it's like weird things. So yeah, I can only imagine that like hip hop is already still difficult sometimes here to this
absolutely,
day.
Yeah.
So I can't imagine that.
Yeah, I think it goes with the trends. I mean, when I did, we can start from the Lansdowne Street days where it would be a huge house DJ, and then that was, you know, 01 to like 04 or something. They would have dance hall in the side room, and that's when the big Sean Paul and that kind of dance hall, like
love that shit.
When it was just all rhythms and so, and then it kind of evolved into, you know, like the mashup style after that, and then it keeps evolving, and I think that's how the music goes. But I think sometimes we're not necessarily ahead of the trend. We're always kind of with the trend, but we're never ahead of it. But I think that with how diverse Boston is, that some of this trends we're on top of. You know, I think with Latin coming in the past 5 years, it's been huge, especially because there's some big Latin communities, you know, in the area. I think that's helped out. And some of the artists, you know, have gotten big that from Lawrence and things like that. I think, you know, it's surprising to see how like trap music has become so mainstream. Now. Yeah,
just 5 years ago, people were telling me not to play it.
Oh,
you know what I mean? And now it's like, how do you get through a night
Right.
if you go through a top 40 chart,
Right.
it's like all trap. You know what I mean?
I mean, they played at bars, they played at clubs.
Yeah,
you know,
and it's like like at the time, like Bad and Bougie was a big song. Like I was still playing in bars and like the college bar scene, and like, dude, you can't go through a night without playing that. And it's
Right.
like these like white bar kids like
Yeah.
banging Migos and like it's
And then
so
singing
interesting.
Sweet Caroline like 2 seconds later.
Exactly, to end the night. Yeah, exactly. At the time, what was the primary like promotion method? Because you mentioned like handing out cards and stuff.
Yeah, it was
that
absolutely hand-to-hand flyering.
Wow.
I think MySpace was around, but
Yep.
I don't even know if you could post pictures. I forget. It's been a long time. But yeah, I mean, it was hand-to-hand method. It was calling people. Sometimes it was, like physically writing down names on a piece of paper to hand in for a guest list.
Wow.
But then it's just the word of mouth, and I think that's what, to be successful, people, you have to throw a good party, and people have to enjoy themselves and say that it's Tuesday night, it's Wednesday night, I know where to go out, I know what's going to be fun. So it's the consistency of throwing a good night where people come back, and I think that method has also helped us get so many nights.
Yeah. At the time, you being, this young dude, I was just a DJ, moving on to promoter. Were you working, like, did you have other jobs at the time or anything?
I
or
did
was
have
this
another
your
job.
main-
This early on after I graduated college, I worked in the Brookline Public Schools. Yeah, I was
shit.
special ed teacher.
Look at you, Jeff.
Yeah.
Okay.
So I did that. I did that for a while, and then I
Wait,
went
so this is at the
full-time
same time. Sorry.
Yeah, so I would.
Wow.
So there would
God
be. So
damn.
I remember nights. Ace would drive me home from Saint, which we did on Sundays. That was before Cure. We did Saint Sundays, and we'd do the night. I think the only place open late at night besides South Street Diner was the hospital, Aubon Pan in the hospital. So we go there. We'd have a sandwich to sober up.
Ew.
Because I was open 24 hours, and then he'd
Shit.
drive me to West Roxbury and drop me off, and then I'd go Monday mornings, and they were tough. Yeah.
Holy, because I've always done the 9 to 5 thing with like the DJing and stuff, and they're like the story where what episode was it? Yeah, the bottle service episode. I told a story about on a Wednesday night going to shake hands and make sure I network and do the right thing, and ended up staying super late on a Wednesday night when I had work the next day. It was actually Jeff's house. Jeff is the guy that I was talking about.
A legendary apartment.
Legendary apartment. And so, yeah, those late nights that, the next day, but I didn't work with kids. Like I worked with other adults, and like if I'm just like, hey, I'm a little hungover or whatever, like it's they'll understand. But damn, you're with kids. Holy shit.
I didn't go too heavy on Sunday nights because I knew Monday would be the
you
start of
can't.
a long week. But that's
But
how
then
I started.
those Tuesday nights, no.
And then Tuesday, we had Monday night.
Fuck.
So it was almost 7 nights. It was pretty.
Like how
it was
like
pretty crazy.
you never because that's the thing about the weekends. Like so you might Thursday into Friday you can do that's easy, and then Friday you can sleep in Saturday. Because then you'll bounce back Sunday to make it strong.
Right, yeah.
Monday you don't have that.
Yeah, I was the best. I took the best naps ever. Yeah, I was I
God.
was the king of naps. But it's full work. I mean, in that time too, right after school, I mean, you're getting ready for the night. You're preparing. You have to make, this is time. You can't just put a post up on Facebook. You have to, reach out and,
Right, that's so true.
And I think what you just said is true, is the networking, You meet those people, you're talking about what's going on this week. You're making friends. They know that they can call you and see what's going on, what's the agenda for the week.
Did you have like a special sauce or a special like kind of community of people that you try and tap into specifically? Like, was there something that made Jeff like that promoter you have to fuck with, or were you just trying to float around as much as you can?
I floated around a lot. I think just being like straight up with people, just networking, always taking care of people, always checking up on people, and making sure people have a good night. If there's VIPs, you go in and you check on the VIPs. I didn't really have a certain group that I would go after, but once you start meeting some of the basketball players or some of that, the word travels around the team, that Tuesday night's the way to go, or, Wednesdays at district. I think, Wednesdays, I think we're a huge night at district, which you were talking about Savoie is there now.
Yeah.
But actually, 617 was part owners of that. And I think what made the Wednesday night popular there was there were a lot of, during winter would be the basketball on Wednesday nights, and then baseball in the spring and summer. So we'd have all kinds of athletes going there, and it was a more intimate spot. I think it only held like 150 people.
Yep.
So it was tougher to get in, and people knew that was where to hang. Yeah.
It's funny because like I have Ace on Facebook, and recently he's been posting like the throwback photos of like the club photos of like back then.
Oh yeah.
And as you know, me being a younger guy, like I look at like the fashion, like the hairstyles, like even just the style and like the way the picture was taken. Even like I'm just like, yo, like this is so dated, but it's hilarious.
Oh yeah.
But at the same time, there are some photos like that I'm like, everyone is genuinely having an amazing time, and no one is worried about the next man, like, or looking too cool, like, and as a DJ, that's something that I always look for, right? I'm always trying to set that vibe, and seeing those pictures, I'm like, fuck, they kind of look kind of funny, kind of goofy, it's outdated, but they look like they're having an amazing ass time.
People were dancing, people weren't just posting up on the, with the bottle, and it was, but the fashion was, pretty unbelievable. I mean, I don't want to post any pictures of myself, but I had some crazy styles. But I think a lot of hair gel and like a lot of like blonde streaks for girls.
But the girls like makeup stuff look wild.
Absolutely, a lot of color in it. Yeah, definitely.
What was the transition into going from DJ to promoter, and now promoter to like VIP host? Where like, because I ended up that was your thing, right?
Yeah, I mean it kind of transformed again back going on that Tuesday night. There was another VIP host there, Aguilas, who's still actually in the industry. Shout out Aguilas. And he kind of showed me the ropes along with Ace and everybody else. And then you just get your connections there. And I think it's, I just networked from there and just became, the host that people wanted to go to or called on if they needed something. And from then on, I was, always say the VIP host to, having the Celtics and, all the local sports teams. And then afterwards, movies started to come in more into town. They started filming more movies. Right. Dealing with that, and then concerts and things like that. You have, the artists and the relationships with the radio people and things like that. And you get those connections, and then the next thing you know, you're having the Monster Jam after party or something like that.
Right. I mean, so I've opened or played like the event, like where a celebrity hosted or whatever. And if I do get the chance to like meet them, like, I still get like, like, how do I approach them? Do I play it cool? Like whatever. You being so in it, I mean, at least in the beginning, did you ever be like, okay, like this is work, I can't. Even though I'm a huge fan of them, like, did you ever get those moments? And stuff
absolutely, yeah. I mean, there's some people that, I was like, wow, I really looked up to this guy, and he's texting me.
That must have been fucking insane.
So it was pretty cool to me. And then you get in these relationships, and then you realize, how genuine they can be, and just want to have a normal time too. Sometimes you go to the club and they just want to be like, I want to be the star. I want like everybody, show me out. Everything. And then other times I just want to chill in the back and nobody see them, but enjoy themselves out. Not be bothered.
And so I'm sure you approach those two different personalities different as their host, right? Like, how would you kind of? So you have like like the rock star. I want to be in the middle of whatever, and then the dude who's in the back. How 100%. Do you approach those?
I think that you feel them out. So when you check in on them, they usually have their. Friends with them, a little entourage with them. You check in on them. You guys want some, some ladies would like to meet you and stuff like that. No, then no. If bring them all through, then that's what you do. You just kind of, cater to them. I mean, it's their night out. And you want them to have as much fun. And said, I went to Boston and it was dope. The music was good, and I had a fun time, and I met a lot of cool people. That's what I want.
I mean, so visiting your apartment, you had tons of like memorabilia and like just like signed shit, and like I was just like you would just you're like pulling stuff out, be like, yo, look at this, and like
Yeah, I mean that. Yeah, there's some cool,
Perks
definitely
and stuff.
cool moments.
Yeah.
From meeting everybody, and that's some of the stuff that I love. My
Yeah,
dad
what's some of like the prize stuff you got?
a lot of autographed jerseys, things like that. But there's some definitely cool ones that I've gotten it over the years. We used to have the cones at the house, and the traffic cones that we
Oh
kinda
yeah,
stole.
that everyone would
And
sign.
everybody has
right?
to sign it.
Yeah,
I think
yeah.
when I moved out, I think we had 4 full-size cones signed from everybody that's come over the house, which is pretty crazy. I mean,
You still have them, right?
I still have them.
Oh yeah, I was gonna say
yeah.
you made it seem like when you moved, you gave them away.
No,
or something.
no. That's some great, great memories on there, and great people that stopped by from. I think some Patriots players came by, and some Celtics guys. A lot of people came by that apartment. It was, it was legendary.
Dealing with all those different kinds of personalities and stuff. I mean, I didn't even think about like the movie stars and stuff like that. I'm sure you can get like huge dicks. Are there any like horror stories that you can think of just like being the host and anything like that?
Yeah, I mean, it's not really horror stories. You want to make them have a good time. They can be needy or want things, but you're making them have a good night. And if they're extremely rude to you, you can just let them be, and then
Because that's the hard thing, like, because you do want them to come back no matter how much of a dick they are to you.
Yeah, there are very few that are, because they know that I have the power and the club to make their night, go smooth, or or to just ignore them and then not be catered to.
Mm-hmm. You mostly did. I mean, I'm assuming with it being mostly athlete based, that you did mostly male VIPs. Who were some of like the female VIPs that you came across?
We did. Paris Hilton one night came by a Tuesday, which was really dope. We've had Danica Patrick, the race car driver, came by. She came by with Mark Wahlberg. I think she was signed to his water company, or we did an IndyCar, which I thought at first like an IndyCar like event. Like, I've never watched IndyCar. Like, it's gonna be and it was like one of the coolest parties. Yeah. We had a race car. We had an IndyCar parked outside the club. It was pretty dope. Trying to think of some other female that have come through. Just some singers and artists or people performing in town. We've had, which has been really cool.
Damn, that's it's crazy. Huh? Oh yeah. Model vibes.
Well, I can tell this story one time. Yeah, Kate Upton came, and she had just starting dating Jason Verlander.
Yeah. I think they're married now. Yeah.
Yeah. So it's kind of a crazy party, because he comes in first. Swiss Beats was there. Peter Dinklage for Game of Thrones was there.
What the fuck? Wait, what year is this?
I don't know. I could maybe 8 years ago. I don't know when they started dating.
Yeah, I don't know. We can
look it up. All right. It's when they just started dating, and they may be dating for a little while, because Verlander says, "My girlfriend's coming,"
but he doesn't say who it is.
He doesn't say who it is. He's like, "Can you go get her?" And I was like,
Wait.
Yeah.
Can you go get her? Like, she's just some average ass
She was like actually outside, like waving to get in.
Oh, they met in early 2012.
Yeah, so I was gonna say 8 years ago. Yeah, that would seem.
Yeah, you were on it. Shit. Yeah. Yo, that's mad funny. Wait. So hold on. Sorry, I kind of missed that last part. Reading this. So he says, "Can you go get my girlfriend?" And you're just like, "Oh, it's just going to be some, I'm sure, lovely lady."
No, I knew.
Oh,
that
you
he
knew?
was dating her. Yeah.
Oh,
yeah, because it was pretty publicized.
Okay.
That they were dating. So I was like, wow. And it was, and she was just out there like waving, and I was like, yeah, come on in. Come on in.
But she was cool and everything.
Yeah,
right?
she was cool.
That's mad funny.
Yeah, it's definitely. I mean, Swiss was there for the whole weekend. He had.
So he was chilling. He wasn't hosting or.
No, he wasn't DJing, hosting. He had a deal with, I believe it was Reebok at the time, and I think he was a creative director, or maybe he was just meeting with the Reebok.
Oh, that's right. Yeah, because they're here.
Yeah. So he met. So he was here the whole weekend. It was real cool.
Yeah. He also
he went to Harvard.
Harvard. Yeah.
He
I think he just graduated or whatever. Yeah. It's insane because like, you know, like I was saying earlier, like Boston being this weird market spot that like we have celebrities here, we don't have them. Like when they're here, they don't want to be out here like that. Like it's so weird. Like you have people who do go to Harvard or who I mean, Puma's here, New Balance is here, Reebok is here. Like so many big brands are headquartered here. So I'm like, like when Rihanna was here like 2 years ago and like randomly pulled up to Poorhouse, like
right,
and because she was having those Puma meetings, and it's just like this weird thing that like they're here but we don't even realize. Like it's weird. I don't know. Like New York, you know that they're gonna be there. Right. You walk around being like, what celebrity am I gonna bump into?
Yeah. Like I just heard that DiCaprio and somebody else are filming a movie in Seaport.
Oh really?
Like I had no idea.
So DiCaprio's here. Yeah. Damn, I fucking love Leonardo DiCaprio. That's my favorite actor. That's funny. And so the nights are moving well. Do you especially when you first started and you're doing the dual day job, and were you like, yeah, I'm gonna be in here for 20 years, or were you kind of just going with the flow?
Yeah, I thought we had longevity, and we were a lot younger back then. We had energy, we had great things going. I only did the dual jobs, I think, for a year or two when I was 617, and then after that it was full time with them from then on. But yeah, I think I knew it. My parents thought it was a hobby.
Yeah, I was gonna say. Yeah, to tell you're full time.
And then they saw how successful we were. I mean, back in the day, they would write up about articles in the Herald and things like that. So
check out Jeff London's articles on Google. Literally, just Google his name.
So I think I always thought about that. A 5-year plan, a 10-year plan. 20 is long.
Right.
And I never thought it would come to this stopping.
Yeah.
You lose nights here and there. Places close and places remodel, so you stop your night.
Yep.
But you never thought it would just be a complete stop for
absolutely
for this long.
And so, you hear about this thing called COVID happening, creeping up on us. Things are kind of like we don't know what's happening. Then, what was it, like March 15th or something, where like everything is done.
Yeah.
As a 20-year running a promotional party throwing company, what were the text messages? What was the meeting like at that moment?
I mean, it's so tough. I mean, you want to think of creative ways, and being a company that has been so creative over the years for doing different parties, or doing an IndyCar party.
Yeah.
From starting a Latin night in downtown Boston, we're so creative in doing so many things that our first thing was, let's get some rest. Let's see how long this takes.
Right.
And then, do we do, an outdoor movie? Do we do, a silent disco in a parking lot?
That would be fun.
Something like that. And when you start to call around, nobody knows what's going on. So you're not getting answers that you usually get.
Right.
Do you do something, Foxborough Stadium?
Right.
You can't get answers because it's so open-ended that people don't know what's going on, that there is no, solution there's no answer to what's going to happen or how we can do this. These restrictions change so many different things. Just even 2 hours, moving them back from whatever time to 9:30 now or 10 o'clock.
Yeah,
it really, you really have to be creative to do something.
Yeah. It like with that specific example with the whole 9:30 thing, like, I know people who, whether they are able to pull something off or like they're doing the hard stop at 9:30 or whatever, and people are texting me or texting whoever's involved. So like, what time y'all closing? And I'm like, yo, what time they're fucking closing. Everyone knows what time they're closing.
Right, yeah.
Why are you making this harder for everything? Like, if you want to go do what you want to do. Like, you know, you have to come at 7. God forbid you have to come at 7. Like,
Right,
but it's just
exactly.
the way people are just programmed. Whether maybe it's social media, we don't know what it is, but like people are just like not. They think it's your fault. They think it's my fault. They think it's you know what I mean? Like, oh, Jeff is not letting us party past 9:30.
Right.
Like, fuck Jeff. He used to be so cool. Like, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's all fucked up. I mean, without getting too personal, like, how are you specifically looking at this moving forward or adjusting? Have been adjusting last 9 months?
Yeah, it's hard to adjust. You know, I literally worked, 2 events over the 9 months, and it's just not hard for me. I see how many other people are affected, and it's, managers, security, bartenders, busboys, all those people. I mean, I don't have a family yet, but I can imagine, making money every week and then going to nothing.
Yeah.
And I think that's the saddest part, is that we don't know when it's going to end, and there's no income for so many people that worked in that area. And it's just not the people that actually work there, but even the people that supply the liquor and all those,
Right.
I doubt they're supplying anyone with liquor or
I forgot.
food to a restaurant.
I saw this stat among the million of stats that are on social media about this stuff, but like the nightlife, food, restaurant industry as a whole, it was like, I forgot how much money it like put into the economy. It was just this insane number that a lot of people don't like consider. And like, just because you were saying it's way past, like you're saying, the people that supply the liquor, there's people that supply all that stuff. It's this huge ripple effect. Yeah, this huge chain of people that are being horribly, because people like being the DJ and everything like that, everyone's it must be hard, whatever, but they think it's just the party. Oh, you can't party anymore, boo-hoo. I'm like, dude, like, you have to understand, like, a lot of Jav, 20 years in the game doing this straight. Like, how do you think he's doing? Like, how do you think? Yeah, like you were saying, the suppliers, the bus boy, like it's all just, I don't know. People, I think, especially on social media, have been like minimizing our industry a lot, and because again, to a lot of people, it is just partying that they do for 5 years of their lives.
And some of it too, people have other jobs. I mean, I think people, that was their second job, but that second job was what paid the rent. That second job was what, fed the kids, or,
absolutely,
the Christmas time almost, stuff like that, holidays, like that. I think that's when it hits people, really, when you have holidays and things like that, this time was, crucial.
Yeah. My 5-year plan got completely messed up from, losing all my gigs and stuff like that. Like, I've completely had to like recalibrate and adjust everything, because I lost like a third of my
100%,
almost half of my income. Like, so I asked a lot of the past guests, their involvement in nightlife, like when's the end for them. I had our first guest is a newer promoter, and I was just like, look in the future, like, when do you think you're gonna like hang the gloves up, kind of thing. Is this something for you that you think will be the thing that ends it for you, or you think
this isn't going to end it for me? I think it's just a step for me to go in a kind of a different direction. So, maybe it's not going to be per se a promoter. Maybe it's going to be more, doing podcasts, maybe, with the celebrities that I meet, or, maybe it's, working, more of the day shifts as opposed to staying out at night, 6 nights a week, 8 nights a week. It literally feels like it. It's moving in a different direction. Will I still probably run those nights? Yeah, hopefully, and hopefully they'll still be successful. I don't know what the future holds. I think that's the toughest part. Because before, I could have a night that didn't succeed, and you just go back to the drawing board and try again.
Right.
Where now it's, I don't know when it's going to hopefully be back on. And I think it'll be different when it comes back on. I think it will be
different.
Obviously not packed nights, and just, different formats and things like that. And I think music caters to to how things are gonna be, where maybe it's more loungy type. Now we're gonna have DJs like that, or do you have like a drummer and like a horn section playing with the DJ, so it's a more chill kind of vibe as opposed to just like slamming tracks. And stuff like that.
Right. You just briefly mentioned like a different format. Do you have any kind of idea what that might look like? Because I think, because again, the people who aren't in the industry, they're like, oh, like when it opens, and it's going to be exactly the way we think it is. But you're saying like you adding the instrumentation is like an idea that I didn't even think about. I mean, that's why you have 20 years in the game and I don't.
No, I don't know what it's going to be like, and I think we're going to have to adjust to it, And I think that's the part where it weeds out people. Are you going to adjust to it, or are you going to try to bring it back like it's supposed to be, and you're just going to fall off?
Right. And I think where that has become like it's hard to. How do I say this? Like promoters, they always have something to promote. I think it takes, they all have distinct personalities where they can do that. Fucking Ado's doing all this other shit. But I think with DJs, like DJs are kind of marked by the gigs they get, the reps they get. And you saying that people are losing the longevity or like they start to fall off. Like I think DJs are falling off like by the day, like more COVID casualties.
There were
like,
too many of them anyway.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. Yeah, but it's insane because like I'm seeing them go, and I'm seeing them just hanging it up and like deleting their page or like deleting their DJ stuff.
Well, I think those, I think you have to have what we talked about earlier is passion, and I think some of these people did it for not the wrong reasons, but they did it for being the cool person, getting in for free, doing. Not for the passion of music per se or playing in front of people. I think people, that really have the passion, that really, research the music and kind of live, the life of the DJ, even though they might have other jobs, but really live it out to hear other DJs and do all that, where some just do it, for fun. I think that weeds kind of it out from the real people that have been doing it.
And having worked with you guys, I noticed that 617, or rather other promoting companies, they'll stick with like 5 DJs. Like they're like, hey, like we like this sound and we'll just stick with them. 617 had like 30, 40 at a time, I felt like.
Oh yeah. I think one of the cool things that we do is like on a Wednesday night, we'd pair up 2 DJs that wouldn't, necessarily DJ together. And I think that was, you get to see like different, styles. And I think it was fun for me. I love music. I think you have to be open to certain people. You try certain people out. And you got to give your crowd something different too. Sometimes DJs get complacent and they're playing the same set. And that travels, how many times they, play Meek Mill at 12 o'clock, it gets redundant. And so when you bring in new DJs, it switches it up a little bit. You get a new playlist and hopefully, they're at their caliber to play the room. But also, I think different rooms have different DJs, you're not going to put Tiesto at Saint. He's a huge,
right.
Big Nightlife guy. He's a huge Royale, play massive things, where I think that each DJ they can be versatile, but I think each DJ has a strong point where certain rooms work for them.
Absolutely. And so, being a promoter, working with the bookings and stuff like that, what were things that would turn you off from a DJ, or what's something that you'd be like, oh, besides the fact that you want to give people a chance, what's something that you'd be like, oh yeah, no, this guy, I want to give him a chance?
Hate microphones.
Really?
Oh.
I feel like you like me and Stams and dudes who like microphones.
No, I hate microphones. Talk with your hands.
Damn, how did I make it this far? Because I think Jeff likes me.
No. There are many DJs that talk on the mic, but there's also DJs that talk on the mic and then have a few drinks and then they talk and talk and talk. Yeah, and forget about the music.
Right.
No, Snax, you're a great DJ.
I'm a great, great talker too.
I think showing up late, just being prepared for the night. You know, if we have a special host, whether it be you know, an up and coming, you know, whatever it may be, that you have the songs ready for that person. You're prepared with, you know, with any track that they can say, you know, I want to do this. You're prepared. You know, just being professional. You know, you can be as cocky as you want. That's cool. I mean, that's, I think, is in this industry, a lot of people are. But that's fine. But yeah, get off the mic.
Is that I don't know, cause it's such a, I think, a hip hop thing, especially East Coast hip hop thing. Like New York, that's like, I think, where like you have like Funk Flex, who doesn't shut up. Right. Yeah. Is it just because you're so into the music, or you think it interrupts the vibe? Like, I'm just curious. Honestly, this is more of a me thing. I
think I think it interrupts the vibe. I think there's certain moments where it works, and then I think they're, you know, shouting out every dude that's in the club because he's your boy. That doesn't work. Hyping up the crowd, 100%. But then sometimes it goes overboard where you're missing the song out, or you're singing the lyrics instead of, you know, Jay-Z, you know?
Yeah, I get it. I mean, everyone has their opinion, like, even especially like people in the crowd. Like, I've been with groups that are like, oh my God, like, they're making it so much better. They're accentuating. And then I know people that are like, oh my God, that guy doesn't shut up. It's interesting. And that's why I ask, because I like to kind of see where people are coming from. And
also, too, is like some DJs don't know how to deal with like sound, so it sounds good in their booth or their monitor.
Yeah, but it
sounds like
it's like
yeah.
No, I get it. But speaking of like DJs and stuff, but you were doing talent management, weren't you?
So London Talent, that was, I mean, again, back in the day when just helping booking DJs, you know, throughout. We were having so many DJs come to Boston, you know, whether it be like scam artists or other DJs from Chicago. And so I wanted to give back something to some of our local guys. And you can shout out Hectic and some of those guys. And I think getting the exposure out there really helped them. You know, what they would end up doing is trade gigs. So
right.
They would go out to Chicago. We'd fly out to Chicago, you know, New York, and then we'd have the New York DJ. And I think that gave us some flavor too. You know, it's from Chicago. And actually, I think some of these Chicago DJs have been DJing for us for, you know, 8 years or so. So it really, you know, people started to like them, and people, you know, recognize them coming in now. Sometimes when you have DJs come in, you have to sell the DJ. You don't, like, nobody knows that guy's name. You may know him because you're you know, a fellow DJ or you follow him. The average person doesn't know. So what do I have to sell this guy for in order people to come see him?
Right. And is that how you met Malcolm, or did you know him on a personal level otherwise?
No, I met Malcolm doing the exact same thing.
So that's how you guys.
So another promoter was like, I have a friend down in TC. Can we bring him up for a Wednesday night? Yeah, and then that's how.
Dope. Yeah, it's because it's fucking COVID, man. Like, I was just getting into my trading gigs bag, and like that's how, like, this past summer was supposed to be a huge summer for me in terms of getting out, and because I was trading.
Right.
And it's a lot of people, a lot of DJs wonder how you start getting out of state and starting to like spread your wings in that way, and so it's interesting that like that was kind of a thing you were managing to an extent, right?
Yeah. I mean, it would just help the guys out because, you know, and just because we had so many DJs calling in to come play, and you know, because of and then so I would try to, you know, do the reverse. I don't do it. I mean, I'd help the DJs out now, but I really don't, you know, do the artist booking anymore. I do the artist booking along with Riz. Shout out Riz 235.
Rizzy. We gave him a big shout out last episode too, Rizzy.
But yeah, he's been doing a lot of the bookings as well.
And why did you ever think about leaving Boston at all? Like, you were so successful here. Did you ever think, oh, maybe I can go to New York market or just a different market?
Yeah. I mean, I think there were there was a time, I think, that to see another market or to be in another market was like kind of a goal. I think these were the times when Vegas started getting huge, and you see a lot of the Boston guys out there. There must have been, 4 or 5 guys that left Boston that to do Vegas clubs and became successful. Then they went to, South Beach, and then South Beach kind of became a huge, huge spot. But I love Boston so much. I don't think I'd ever leave. Yeah.
That's that being from a Boston neighborhood shit. Like because you know what like the real shit is, and like how like being from the.
And New York's just too crazy. Yeah.
It's funny because, so I mean like Boston being such a college school, like there's a college town that like there's so many people that aren't really from here and that they think they know Boston, whatever. What's your opinion, just like being, from West Roxbury, from like the South Side Boston neighborhoods, and then kind of being where you're at now?
Yeah, I mean, I think I had a great experience growing up. I mean, West Roxbury, I went to Boston Public Schools, so I loved it.
What school did you go to?
I went to the Armberger and then went to Timothy in Roxbury.
Wow, you're Boston as fuck.
Yeah.
Wow.
I went to the Tim, which actually closed down, I think, a year or two ago. I don't know if it's still around.
I'm not sure.
I don't know. But,
I mean, I know a ton of like kids that I grew up went to Timothy and everything.
But I think it gave me an experience where I saw different, the Armberger and the Timothy and Boston Public Schools brought in kids from every kind of neighborhood.
Yeah.
And I think that's where, you listen, you start, middle school, you listen to diversity of music and, you see different, celebrations, different holidays that people celebrate and things like that. And I think that gave me opened my mind to a lot of things. And I think, growing up in Boston, and then I went to high school at St. Sebastian, so I went to a private school right after, all boys private school. So it was totally different. So when I came in, listening to hip hop in 7th grade and Belle Biv DeVoe, and they were listening to Led Zeppelin, it was like totally, so different.
I actually I went to private school as well. Okay. So I know exactly what you're talking about. I mean, for me, it was like a little different being Hispanic, and a lot of the kids that I went to like elementary school, like around my neighborhood in Rosendale, they're like, oh no, like you sold out, and like, what I mean? So I had this weird in between, because like I was still just like the first generation brown kid that's in a private school, right? You know what I mean? But yeah, like you said, Led Zeppelin, like I got into Led Zeppelin because of private school, and like I got it, the Queen and all that stuff, and that definitely helped transcend like the way I view music as a DJ. Like I play like a lot of sample stuff, and like I like to study all that shit.
And I think that's dope. Sorry to cut you off.
No.
That's dope. How, like the AM and the mashup era kind of like took over, which that was that what I thought was so cool, because it was mixing the genres up like so well.
Yeah, and that's why I kind of appreciate COVID DJing in a way. Like it is a silver lining as a DJ, because now it's like you were saying, it's not headbanging music anymore to rip everybody's head off. It's like we can get a little funky, we can get a little groovy, we can set a vibe, more of a lounge thing. So like I can go back to maybe play a sample of whatever. I can play a Belle Biv DeVoe. I can maybe drop like a Led Zeppelin if it's the right crowd. Like and it works now. I've been doing a lot of like the brunch sets and playing like I did this I have this like transition thing where I play a part of an acapella of Black Dog by Led Zeppelin. It's like, hey, ma, I like the way you move. And I'll loop that. So I like the way you move, go make you dance, go make you groove. I loop that part, and I play Move Bitch by Ludacris under
super
it.
Dope.
And so it's like playing on Move, and it works perfectly. And it's one of those things that, if you're eating or whatever, drinking with your friends, and you're just like, okay, he's playing Led Zeppelin. Oh, he's playing Ludacris. Oh, this is weird. But that would never hit at a club, because playing Led Zeppelin at a club would be fucking weird. Yeah. But like, I'm appreciating that I can do shit like that now.
100%. Yeah, that sounds dope.
Yeah, it's funny. Sticking on to the neighborhood shit. Have you tangents? Have you heard of Trial 4 on Netflix?
Yes, I have. I haven't watched it yet.
Yo, so I just started watching it this past weekend. It's like, it. So, I mean, do you know about the case? No. Yeah. So the thing is, so it happened in '93. I'm born '94, and so like, I didn't really know that this happened. But everyone's telling me, it's like, yo, you're from Roswell, you have to watch this. You have to watch it. And I'm like, okay, cool. Yo, minutes away from, like, steps from, like, my neighbor, like my childhood home. It's on American Legion, which is like where I grew up. And it's like, it's so weird because you see so many like docuseries, like investigation, whatever's, and you're like, oh, okay, this is, imagine if that was my hometown and like whatever. When like now that it is, and they're doing like the drone aerial shots of literally my neighborhood, and it's like way too close. So I'm like, I get
super crazy,
like,
yeah.
I get like uncomfortable where I'm like they have this one specific drone shot, and I can see my house.
Wow.
And I was like, ugh, this is mad weird. And one of the dudes that they were interviewing, I didn't realize because I was just a kid at the time, was my homie's dad.
Oh wow.
You know what I mean? And I was just like he so I have a twin sister, and she was like, yo, homeboy's dad is in this. And I was like, really? She goes, just watch it. First episode, like he's in it. And I'm like, yo, what the fuck?
That's on my to watch list. Yeah. Now, see, that's what this time has. I have a lot of time to watch Netflix.
But you being from West Roxbury, you're
yeah.
gonna be like, yo, this is kind of wild. How it all kind of hits literally close to home.
Close to home. Yeah.
I mean, so we were talking with Case last week and on last episode that if a vaccine a vaccine actually might drop literally in a few weeks, apparently. Let's say a vaccine drops tomorrow, everyone takes it and it works beautifully. COVID is done by next week. Like, what's the first thing you do? Do you try and go back to work, throw the biggest party in the world, or
No.
are you going to sit on it?
Not sit on it, but yeah, I mean, start going back to work, but not throwing the biggest party in the world. You want to build back up the trust from everybody. I think you want to build, sort of a, somewhat safe environment. If you're slamming stuff again and just being absolutely reckless, I don't think that's the way to go, because I don't need the money from that one Saturday night. I need the money from the 52 Saturday nights, so I don't want to. So
that's a good way
I
to.
don't want to, ruin it over one night.
Yeah,
but I think people are hungry to go out.
I mean, we know, being in the industry, there are people that are still like, because there is that like a social responsibility, right? Like not being the person that spreads it, not being the one that's like, yeah, I know pandemic's here, but fuck it, I need to get this money. I know that we can name people off the top of our head that are kind of not really thinking about the social responsibility part, and are still chasing the money and still trying to like make things happen. Like I know like the young like college promoters that are like doing house party stuff, like back to the house parties, like throwing, like I'm seeing on Snapchat and stuff, there's like 200 kids in a basement, whatever, and I'm like but they're just trying to make their bread. And it's one of those things where it's like, I know that they're getting tons of backlash because they'll post like those like, oh, if like you're so concerned about my money, like blah 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 blah, and it's like a really weird balance of wanting to provide for yourself and do what you need to do to like survive, and hey, maybe I shouldn't host like.
Yeah, I think it's a sticky situation. I mean, I think if you're absolutely reckless, I think that's a little beyond. But if you're, doing it, playing it sort of safe, I think that's the best way to do it. But, you don't want to go overboard right away. I think you want to have, but also, I'm older too. I think if I was 21 too and I was locked in, most people live with their parents, like I want to get out too.
Yeah.
So I see both aspects of it, but I've seen some of those parties. straight reckless.
Yeah. It's weird. I mean, yeah, I guess the difference with you is like, you're like, hey, I've partied enough. You know what I mean? Like you could appreciate a good break. I mean, me and Ada were saying this. I think last week, like we're in the max contract years. Like we're in the golden years. Like we're kind of sitting. Right. I mean, I'm doing okay. I'm not like, it's not like I'm 21. But like my birthday's next week, and I'm like, last year I was having a huge party with Ado, and this year I'm probably just gonna.
Yeah, no, and I feel for people. I can't imagine being your senior year. My nephew's senior year of college.
Oh, I can't imagine.
Stuff like that, or or anybody. Just the social aspects of people's lives. Just being, just went to nothing.
Yeah. And it's one of those things where it's funny because people be like, oh, like I used to play Cure Saturdays, right? And people are like, oh, I'm getting tired of Cure. Like I'm there to like, oh, Cure's missing this or it needs this or whatever. And now it's like, I just want to go to Cure again.
Oh, yeah.
Like, you know what I mean?
Yeah, all those nights.
How long was that Sunday run at Cure?
Oh,
for you guys?
I think like 8 to 10 years probably. Wow. Yeah, it went from Saint, and then Saint got remodeled, went to Storyville. So in the meantime, we left and went to Mantra, then Bond, then Cure, and that was.
I think I only know 20% of the venues you've like listed off during this whole episode.
So Mantra was on Temple Place. It's now where Chris Coombs' steakhouse is, Boston Chops.
Oh,
that was Mantra.
Okay.
It was an old bank. It was super dope setup.
Whoa, that's dope.
And then Bond was in the Langham Hotel. That was one of the coolest rooms ever. But they were doing that. But Bond room was probably one of the best rooms in the city.
Wow.
And then Saint was kind of the same setup as Storyville. Actually, in Storyville, I don't think any longer there. Wow, yeah. Well, but I think that's going to happen too. I think a lot of places are going to shut down too, and it's just sad. I'm seeing it now, not just restaurants, but now these clubs are.
Yeah, it's hard, dude. It's a lot of these clubs in Boston, especially. Like they were not barely surviving, but like it's not like they were these like.
Yeah, I mean, they would make their money on the weekend. They have to have one off night to make money. They cover the bills on the weekends, and then they have a off night or Thursday or whatever night to to make some money.
Is Cure Space or Hava Space, whatever, is that owned by the theater, or are they two separate entities?
Owned by the same.
Owned by the theater, right? You having, I guess, seeing like the rise and falls of all these different venues, like, do you think where Boston was at the time of COVID coming, would you be like, yeah, like I like how Boston is venue wise? Like I think there's good options, there's good opportunities for us to make money, there's good places to go to for people, or where you're like, nah, the way it is sucks. Like I've seen it when it was better. Or
what I think, it's hard. I think it was great, but I also think it was so spread out. I mean, places that are restaurants now turn into like a club. So it got kind of diluted. Not just necessarily bars and clubs. It was like I don't want to name places, but they they became a restaurant, and then try to make something into nightlife because they know that food sales don't cover it, liquor sales do. They put a DJ in the most random places. Some of them are cool spots, and I think that's really cool, and to do it differently. But I think it got kind of diluted at the end. But then you have really cool places that opened up in really cool clubs, and people are spending money into putting in these clubs. And then you have the ones that have been there around forever that are still kicking, which is nice, that haven't, had the, super LEDs and, but it's just like an OG club that you just love. You just like the feel of it, The sound system sucks, but you got to go there, It's hot as hell, no AC, but, you love it. But I think that has its own feel. I think, the theater district itself has its own feel to it, and I think it's its own character. Where
absolutely,
Seaport has a total different feel, and then you have Faneuil Hall, and then you have like little, almost like neighborhoods of bars and clubs that I think gave it character, and I think it had something for everybody. You want, a reggae night on a Sunday, or do you want, a jazz brunch, and, cool things like that.
It's so interesting because hearing you say that, I was like, oh yeah, for sure. But then at the same time, like when we were living in it, the amount of times I was like, oh, like we don't have enough of this or enough of that, or, I wish Boston had more. Like I remember saying that all the time, and it's just this weird Is it the way you look at it? Is it people maybe not be so open-minded? What do you think that kind of...
I think it's both. I mean, yeah, I think it's the way... I think when you look back on things, you just kind of remember the good times too. So it's like, so it's hard too. It's like, oh, I remember that club. I'm sure I had bad nights at that club, but I just remember like it's being like the craziest party I've ever been to. Yeah, I think there's always room to do more, and I think everything is always evolving, and I think that's a good thing. You know, you said before we would not be ahead of the trend, but I think we always keep up somewhat with the trend. And I think evolving is good for everybody. Whether it's a new kind of music coming out, new style of clothing, you know, whether it goes from now bottle service to, you know, watching a concert at a table instead of, you know, just sitting on a floor. Cool things like that can make and put character on the city, you know.
Yeah. You were saying how something that a lot of DJs did that was bad was like talking on the microphone, right? What is something that you would see a promoter or someone, like, whether it be the kind of flyer they posted, the kind of event they're doing, the way they're doing, where you'd be like, ugh, like that's not the way it should be, or you're not really fucking with that.
I think when some of the things, how they word things, can give a bad like connotation to like a, you know, or just say, you know, or kind of like faking the funk, like saying, oh, special, you know, celebrity guests invited. I mean, because you tagged them on Twitter doesn't mean they're invited, you know.
I wish you guys could see his face, like, as he's saying it.
You know, stuff like that, or, you know, just mimicking flyers.
I always hated when promoters like cut the budget on the flyer. It always kind of bothered me.
Yeah, I think, you know, I don't mind what, you know, most promoters do. I mean, it gets under my skin, but, you know, they're out there hustling too. You know, cherry picking tables. You go to another promoter's night and start meeting their VIPs. Yeah, that's a no-no. Okay. Handing out business cards to other VIPs.
Oh yeah, that's definitely whack.
Yeah, offering deals just to come to your night instead of, you know.
Oh shit! I've definitely seen that. Yeah, they'll be like, but what do you think about like the people who are waiting in line? Do you think that's free game? So if me and Ado are, you know, the wackies of the night, and we're in line, we don't know anybody, so we're kind of just like, you know, hands in pockets, whatever. And you come up to me and you're like, hey, like, fuck this place. I can get you, if you walk in with me. Like, do you think that's free game? Since we're not.
No, absolutely not. They're waiting in line to go into that place. You know, if they're wandering the street looking for, absolutely, yeah. No, they're waiting in line for a specific thing. Yeah, they're coming in for a specific. Yeah, it's not fair game.
Damn, interesting. Yeah, it's for me it was the flyer thing where I was like, come on guys, like I don't even want to post this. The thing that kind of that I always laughed at.
Put in ugly DJs on flyers. No, I'm just kidding.
That hurt a lot.
Not you, Snax.
I'm
saying, like,
if it's either me or Chantel Jeffries, that's you know, it's hard. I don't blame.
No, it's hard. I mean, like, obviously, you know, the flyers with the fake girls on them too. I know they're not going to be there either. Yeah.
That shit was always funny. There was a flyer that like someone just like transposed like this picture of like Rihanna on it, and all the comments were like, "Is Rihanna going to be there?"
Yeah.
And it's just, and the person in the comments just, no, we just used her picture, and I was like, I bet you regret using that picture. It's so bad. Yeah. The thing that annoyed me was number one Saturday night. And I was like, this is the fifth flyer I've seen, you know, tonight on Friday that says they're number one Saturday. And it's like, me being, I was just like, what are the rankings? Like,
right.
Like, who did you beat to be number, like,
or sold out Saturdays. Guess what? If you sold out, that means you can't have people come in. Like, that doesn't make sense to me. Like, we're going to have a slam night, totally understand.
Ado goes on.
Totally understand. If you're gonna have a slam night, you put in. It's gonna be crazy tonight, but you can't write. It's sold out.
Oh, I see what you're saying. Yeah. Because then everyone's gonna be like, oh, I lost my chance.
Yeah, I don't want to go there. It's sold out already. Yeah.
Interesting. Well, okay, so if you have sold out tables,
Yeah.
you're not gonna be like, oh, table sold out, like we're gonna have a great night. Like, what's
Absolutely not. No. I said it's gonna be jam night, but you don't want to tell somebody that they can't have it. Somebody comes to the door, and they can't get in. They canceled, and I have somebody on like backup, or somebody comes to the door and you want to drop, some money. You're gonna move a table. You're gonna make a table. You're gonna do something. Somebody might be finishing up their table. I don't think. It's
that's so interesting. Fuck, because now that I think about it, I'm the DJ that's like, oh yeah, sold out. Like we're lit. Like because I guess it depends like kind of where you are in the thing. Because like I'm not the one booking tables. Right. Because when I say it's like, oh, Snax plays sold out nights, good for him. Like you know what I mean. But when you say it like that, it's true. Yeah. Like why would you say it? Because then no one else is gonna.
Yeah. Come. Then if you have 5 tables cancel, then you're stuck with you don't have a That's now true. You have half the tables booked. Yeah.
And it's true because, like, hearing you say that, like, I mean, granted, I got the, not the end, because it's not the end, but, like, the later part of you, Ace, and, like, Dimmy's, like, careers and stuff like that, where it's, like, I'm sure when you guys were younger, it was, like, oh, yeah, like, it was, you guys have learned, right?
100%, yeah.
So, but I'm just, like, thinking, like, comparing you guys to other, promoter teams, like, sorry, Ado, like, yeah, you guys were always like way more.
You learn.
Chill, I mean, like I don't know the word. Like
you learn though going through it. I mean, there's still mistakes. You're still learning. You still have to be up. On booking DJs, you still have to be up on the music. You still have to, so you're still learning what to do. If I did a night that I did the same 10 years ago, it probably wouldn't work. You know?
Absolutely.
So you have to, keep learning of what's, that's why we rely on younger people. We have to have younger people to bring in, you have to have the Ados and you have to have people like that to, bring his, BC crowd in or his younger crowd in, because they don't like hanging with old guys.
Was there ever points, or whether it be like you or Ace or anyone else in your team, that you're like, yo, like we're kind of out of touch, or like, did you ever feel that way or anything?
Yeah, sometimes. Yeah, definitely. I mean, some of the nights I said, this isn't gonna work, and it was actually a home run, and it was just, and I was like, why do people like this guy? It was a host, or I don't know who it was. Maybe we've had so many great hosts over there recently, but it was somebody like 21 Savage, who I thought was like the opposite of what hip hop should be. And
interesting.
And then I'm like, am I my parents right now? Like,
being the old guy.
Am I the old guy? Like, my mother used to be like, change the music, this, and I'll be like, oh, it's awesome. And then now I'm saying it like,
I do that to my little sister's 16, and I do that to her all the time. And I'm like, fuck, I'm the washed up old guy doing that.
Yeah.
The thing that never resonated with me was former like hosts or former contestants on like The Bachelor.
Yeah.
Or like those kinds of, like when I saw those as hosts, I'd be like, maybe it's just because I don't watch the show ever, but like it was one of those things where I was like, why would anyone go for this guy? Like go for this guy or whatever.
Yeah, like that, or MTV reality stars.
Yeah, like
they're hit or miss too. It's like
hit or miss,
because it's like, if you don't watch the show, like it has to be a super popular show.
Yeah.
I think Real World Stars.
It was always very interesting to me because there's such temporary fame, like when you're on the start, because when it's like once the season's over, it's done. You know what I mean?
Well, actually, I mean, Jammin' host Ashley was on Real World.
Oh, really?
Yeah. And I think she went to Northeastern. Shout out Ashley. But she used to come to venue. She came all the time. But I don't think Real World was. You have to be like the crazy person on the show, or
right. The most memorable person. Yeah.
To
I feel like as far as reality shows go, like the only thing that would like really bang would be like Jersey Shore or something like that. Like anyone from Jersey Shore would
I think we had Pauly D. We've had The Situation.
Yeah.
Yeah, we had definitely a couple of those people early on. I think Paulie was coming out to Rumor Tuesdays, back in the day, which is crazy.
It's insane. Have you done like a lot of traveling, like at least in the U.S. and kind of compare like, Boston nights or how you guys are approaching things and how other states are doing them or other cities?
Absolutely. I mean, you can look at, different markets, and I do follow a lot to see what the trends are. I mean, there's, I think it used to be mega clubs, and then it started being, the small intimate stuff. Then it goes, there are different trends that go through bottle service and then, huge light shows, different trends of charging cover charge or then charging, tabs now. So it's like a $50 tab to get into this place as opposed to a cover charge. So all different, ways to do it.
Wait, so sorry, the tab thing. So, because that goes towards your bill, right?
Right. So you'd say, if you want to come into this place, you have to spend, X amount of dollars, and they run your card at the beginning. And so you have a tab. So it's, say, all right, $100 a person. So they swipe your card at the door for $100, and
because it guarantees that the bar is going to make that much money.
Yeah, as opposed to doing a cover charge. You've seen all different ways.
That must be a non-Boston thing because I just have never heard that.
New York thing. Yeah.
Damn, I need to get out more. Damn, I'm trying to think of how I would, because to me I'm like, I would run that anyway. You know what I mean? And I guess that's
I'm not saying that 100 is the correct number. I'm sure they blow it up. Yeah, but I think that's also how they do it per person. How they charge minimums for bottle service, they do it per person.
Yeah. Interesting.
Yeah, and those trends. I mean, there's trends in alcohol too. I mean, you having like Grey Goose for so long, and everybody just gets vodka or whatever, and now you're having Ace of Spades, which is an expensive bottle. That's the cool thing now, which is great. And then you have 1942, which is another
out of nowhere, everyone wants it. Yeah,
super expensive.
Yep.
So it's great when the cool bottle is now the most expensive. But
yeah, that's interesting. I was talking about this with Jason before. I think that there was a huge, especially in Boston, this huge like crowd or audience that didn't fuck with VIP or bottle service at all. They were like, yeah, we'd like to go and dance and have a good time, but this bottle shit, where it's all about prestige and it's very what's the word, like I don't know, everyone just kind of sucks and like but Boston is so fueled by that. I have nowhere to go. Being the VIP host, have you heard that? Have you seen that? What do you think about that?
I think that's where you have to play. Because you also want people to have fun as they are. So you want to have something like a venue where it's ideal, where you have tables, but you have a big dance floor. And I've had so many DJs come there and say, wow, the crowd is actually dancing, as opposed to just standing on the couch. But you need that. You need that for the energy. The energy is not going to come from some VIP holding a big bottle of champagne, and just like Snapchatting all night. It's going to come from the people on the dance floor that are really there to dance and hang out.
That's what I liked about Cure the most.
Cure the same way.
Yeah, like it's DJ wise, being in at first I thought being in between the bars was weird, especially like getting in and out. But then I was like, well, I constantly have people in front of me because they're always ordering drinks, and then I had the main dance floor in front of me and the tables were behind that. I didn't even see on a good night. I didn't even see the tables.
Exactly.
You know what I mean? Yeah. And do you think Cure was like the best setup as far as Boston?
I like venue setup. Venue setup. Yeah,
the bowl, like the
venue setup is always. I think it's great for VIPs and it's great for. There are VIP tables that are away from the action. There are VIP tables that are in the action.
Right.
There's a great dance floor.
Because I think that was the issue with Icon. Like the tables were like in the dance floor. Right. So if it was like a rocking night, like people are like on top of each other and everything like that.
Yeah, there's some setups that are a lot better than others. And then you have like the massive clubs that still have some dance floor, but more VIP tables. I think you got to cater. You want to cater to both. You have to cater to both.
Yeah, yeah. And you actually work like directly with Pasha, right? Or you did, or
Yes. Yeah.
What kind of work were you doing with them?
Just working. They just hired 617. So
Okay,
we just have
okay.
a relationship that's gone for
So long that they're just
15 years. Yeah.
Yeah,
I
yeah.
mean,
that's so insane because like obviously we know that promoters and DJs they come and go,
right.
and being at that point was that more of a hey, we're consistent, or was it like we just looked at it more as a business networking venture thing rather than everyone just looking at it like the best way to meet some girls and get some drinks?
Yeah, I think there's two ways to look at it. Yeah, is that you treat it as a business, which it is a business, which is our business, or you can just enjoy yourself and party and have fun. We've had so many promoters over the year and sub promoters and everything, and some of them are so great at it. And you need those people that just come, young, party, and are the life of the night. And then you need the people that are gonna, make sure that the door's running smoothly, and at the end of the night, getting all the receipts and cashing out and everything like that. So you need all that stuff to be on top of paying all the DJs and whatever the nightly things are. So you need both aspects of it, but how we treated it, me, Ace, Dimitri, how we treat it is, you have to be professional. You have to, treat it as a job. Yeah.
Yeah, and that was something that as the DJ that would get the bookings from you guys, like even just like you guys are always super professional. And that's something that I definitely noticed, and I was just like, damn, like before I actually really really met you, like I was in most communication with Dimmy,
Right.
and I was like, he's such a straightforward. Well, first I was like, he's very straightforward and like does what he needs to do, and I was like, I respect that. And then when I met him, I was like, oh my god, he's an angel. Like I was like, he's the fucking nicest guy in the world. The best, Shout out Dimmy.
Shout out Dimmy.
And like I was just like, yo, this dude's so fucking nice. Yeah. And then when I met you, like, you would text me after, hey, good job, like,
right.
And you know what I mean? And like these little things where I'm just like, damn, like I see why these guys have been around for so long, because like it's not necessarily the extra mile, at least like what I'm talking about specifically, but it's those little things that's like, as a DJ, we want to play for you. And you know what I mean? And when we do get a call from you, it is exciting, because there's some promoters I get a call from and I'm like, ugh.
Yeah.
Like, I might do it if I don't get anything else, but this guy kind of annoying, kind of a dick, blah, blah, his nights kind of suck,
right.
Blah, 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 blah. So, I mean, shout out to you guys. I mean, everyone, 617 Productions, 6, the number, 1, the word, 7, the number. Check them out if you don't know them, if you live under a rock, if you haven't gone out ever. At some capacity, they will be back. They're still alive.
We will be back.
Is there anything that you want to shout out? Any people you want to shout out? Anything that you're working on? Any future plans that you want to shout out?
Just shout out to you and Ado and the rest of 617. And, to everybody in the industry, we'll be back, and we'll be stronger than ever. And hold your heads up. We'll be back, and it'll be fun. And nights will be back.
Amazing, strong words from the man himself. Honestly, nightlife legend, bro. It's crazy because, and it's weird because since I've known you, you've always been crazy nice. People are gonna see that you're super chill, nice guy. Like, you have every reason not to be. With the people you've met, the people you've worked with, the longevity and everything. Shout out to you, man. You're an awesome dude. I'm so happy to have gotten you here.
Appreciate
you had mentioned that you were listening and everything like that. That meant a lot. So I appreciate that. And I just, this is just coming straight up from me. Appreciate your support with me, and it's been really amazing to hear your insight and just kind of how you're maneuvering. And I hope people can learn that what it takes to be successful, to have the longevity, and a lot of times you don't have to be a dick to do it. So you're a great example of that. So Jeff, where can they find you? Where can they hit you up? Where can they follow you?
Jeff6007 on IG. I don't do any TikToks. I just watch them. Yeah, I'm not that cool yet. Yeah, Facebook Jeff London. Yeah.
Hit him up. And as always, hit up your host, Snax, at Gimme Snacks on Instagram. Follow at Dope Entertainment Official on Instagram. And make sure you follow at But I Know the DJ Instagram. Please support the podcast. Like it. Download. I'm at the point. Okay. Here we go. Moment. I'm at the point. Fucking like it. Fucking share it. If you know any people who are in the industry, want to get in the industry, have been in the industry, all the club rats, let them know that we do this. If they're trying to get more insight, I got good guests, guys. I got Jeff in here. I got good guests. Like, you might not like me, but I got good guests, man. I got good people in here. Shout out our beautiful producers, Phil and Ado. And please continue to support, continue to listen. We appreciate you, and we'll talk to you soon.
You.